He's always saying he will not be the reason why the opposition divides
Okay.
or the opposition, is separated. We will not be the reason why we don't take Ruto home. Very difficult for anyone to promise any shiny things. If you see any politician in the opposition promising heaven, I don't know how they're going to achieve that. The government of the day has really messed up this country, and especially matters of debt. And I'm going to give a lot of credit to what Rigiji has done so far in the opposition and galvanizing the Mount Kenya, region. And if there's a person who has always been very keen on appreciating the political muscle of various opposition leaders, has been him.
What are some of the issues affecting the diaspora you expect to be covered in this town hall? Al?
Well, thank you so much, Ali. And so I think diaspora has a lot of issues. I think some of the issues are pretty much some of the common things that a lot of people have been having as far as traveling to getting documentation such as birth certificate, renewal of their identification cards, passports. Of course, we have issues in the Middle East where we have a lot of Kenyans who are there under very tough conditions. There are some people who feel they've been left behind by their government, and especially even the current government. I wouldn't say whether the successive governments have been, fully committed to addressing the diaspora issues. But then, the Linda Mwananchi team has an opportunity to give a fresh start. For a long time, I think the diaspora has been very. Some of us were adherents of the former Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga, and we want to envision a diaspora, a Kenya that also, for those of us who live in the West or other parts of the Western world, you would wish to have similar situation as far as human rights and, rule of law, among others, to be replicated in Kenya. And so those are some of the things that, the diaspora feel like when you go back home, you are safe, and the healthcare is working, the systems are working, where you're not going to be conned of your investments, among its other issues. And so I think that this platform that we are having on the 22nd, as someone has said, is just the beginning. And hopefully we can build on from there. When they visit various parts of the world, they can be able to have a meaningful engagement with the diaspora as well in a well-organized town hall. I think the feedback we are getting is that they have been a little bit more chaotic and not so representative in some aspects. And so we just want to make sure that the unique thing about the current Linda Mwananchi is that it's so representative. A lot of people feel they feel represented in the Linda Mwananchi movement because it represents the full face of Kenya. And that's something that I think we need to stick to that. And so I feel like in a nutshell, there are a lot of issues that a lot of people in the diaspora are facing. But if the leadership can be able to address some of the major issues that we normally come across, then definitely from the very basic to the most complicated, and just want to understand that we are not just an ATM, but we can contribute more to the development and growth of Kenya, just as other many countries like the Philippines, how they recognize their diaspora, as well as other countries like um, India. As you all may be aware, like the healthcare industry in India, a lot of Kenyans are going to India for treatment. These people who developed the healthcare industry in India were majority the diaspora, the Indian diaspora. So how can the Kenyan, diaspora plug into the Kenyan healthcare system or any other aspect of some of the Kenyan problems that Kenyans are facing in Kenya, and can be the leadership of the Linda Mwananchi tap into this manpower, into this expatriate to be able to develop Kenya. So I think that's where we are coming from, and it's good to hear from the leadership to see if they can be able to align with those issues and how they intend to do that.
Okay, okay. Asante sana, Al. And I think your video is off. So you can just make a correction of that. I want to come to Dan on the issue of diaspora registration and voting, because that has become a big issue over the years. Is there any special arrangement there is in this town hall to address this issue? Dan.
Yes, of course, that's as far as I know, those with the questions that are going around, like we are filtering them from the members from the diaspora, Kenyans in diaspora. They're really concerned about their exercising their right as embedded in the 2010 Constitution. So that is going to be also addressed by the principal. We're gonna have to ask them. The question is there for them to address that during that forum. We all want to vote wherever we are. We know that so far the voting are only at the consulate offices. That's what, if you are in the US, is either have to go to Los Angeles or go to New York or go to DC. Other areas also, they have them in their consulate offices. So how can they go about that question? Of course, the principal will have to address it. That's a concern that the Kenyans are not, diaspora are not able to exercise their right because of the distances. They're not within the reach. Like in the US, if you put it in the west, east, and also those in other area, other parts of the world, they have a terrible way. They can't reach out to exercise their rights, and most of them might not be able to travel to Kenya during that time. So that's a question that is going to pose to our principals, to the principals of Linda Mwananchi, to let us know. That's one of the major concerns for Kenyans, actually, besides economic and other part of the social atmosphere that our diaspora, Kenyans diaspora would like to participate in. We would like to know about our duties, our right to participate in election and make it so convenient for Kenyans who are outside to be able to exercise their right.
Okay, asante sana Dan, and a number of comments are coming in here on YouTube, but thank you so much what we're YouTube, and tell us where you're tuned in from. I'm seeing people from places like Australia, I'm seeing people from different parts, so tap in the comments, tell us where you're tuned in from. Hapa tuko na Maureen who's saying shout out to Team Linda Mwananchi Diaspora, thank you the One Mike Show. Mimi ni Siguna. Who is Siguna, Maureen? Is that like a deliberate corruption ama ni typo too?
I think it was a typo. Pengine akona Samsung.
Okay. ama labda akona ile iPhone ya zamani.
Akona iPhone works. iPhone works very well.
Yes. And then hapa Susan anasema I am sifunated. We are also looking for the people who are not sifunated. Tell us why. Sijui kama wameogopa kuingia ama ni nini, because weko kila pali, watu nawasikia kila mara. So please get into the comments and let us know.
Can you be both? I'm just asking for a friend.
No, hakuna kwa katikati.
No, yani unaweza penda Sifuna lakini kuna vile umejipanga ile okay, endelea.
No, you're either in or out. Hakuna hiyo mambo, hiyo mambo ya all aboveism.
Hakuna, uwezi kuwa kama haina hivi.
No, lakini to be honest,
yes.
I honestly feel, especially this weekend, Linda Mwananchi is in Homa Bay County.
Yes.
They're trying to talk to people in Nyanza because one thing about Nyanza that most people don't realize is that they've had a period since independence until Baba's death where they had these giant leaders and now they're in a position of trying to contemplate what direction we take. So I think that's what Omosh is referring to. Kuna watu wanampenda Sifuna, but they're like, oh, Baba was with Ruto, right before his death. So, where do we go? So that's something that Abby will be talking to us about. And I know where you're tuned in from, and the number to call is 202-683-4570. Press *5 to speak. Hapa Wams anasema glad to join the show. I'm Wamuyu Gikonyo watching from Adelaide, Australia. Huko Australia, it seems that we need to go there.
They're down under.
Yes.
Kwa sasa hivi si ni noon?
Australia, yeah. Actually, tell us what time it is in Australia. Australia weko in one time zone ama ni kama US.
It's tomorrow.
Okay, all right. And then hapa Irene anasema, does it scare you the amount of challenges you're going to face when you take over government, and what is the first thing you're going to do? Give hope to Sisi Sifunas tuned in from Germany. I think that flag is Germany. Drop your flags
Yeah,
too. I know,
yeah, ni Germany,
I know my flags. I know my flags. Your flag near Germany. And then so Abby, you know, like mark that question. We're gonna revisit it. What is the first thing you're going to do to give hope to Sisi Sifunas? To this guy who's tuned in from Germany. Asante sana. And then I have hizi majina
Adhuda.
no, ini dhudha ama ni adhuda.
Wewe bana wewe.
No, you know, it's the way name imeandikwa.
Bwana Omera.
Me, I'm just reading the way I'm seeing
kitu
it.
vizuri bwana.
Okay. Aya, anasema hebu read it again. Read that name.
Adhuda.
Adhuda. Okay. Aya. Tafadhali, when you have our fundraising campaigns, we need a number to contribute as diaspora as well. So there are people who want to give money. So musione haya, give it to the one mic show to hapo Tristo TV alikuwa ametoa 2 sterling pounds na sasa ametoa 5 sterling pounds.
Ala.
So wengine pia mnaweza mnaweza kufuata nyayo.
Na ubonyeze hiyo kidude iko hapo kwa the right.
And then I have Sotika nasema mimi ni Sifuna. Mimi ni Sifuna my goodness. Hapa tuko na Sheila nasema mimi ni Sifuna watching from Saudi Arabia. Man, mpaka Saudi Arabia. Tell us what's happened. Tell us what time it is in Saudi Arabia and what's happening there. Sijui kama Saudi Arabia watavote.
Na pia hao watu wa Saudi Arabia watuambie issue zao juu wao ni diaspora. Watuambie hapa tu kwa chat waseme sisi hii ndio issue.
Yes, we have an insider.
Watu wa Germany hapa ndio issue.
Kabisa.
Because we have Abby over here. Abby anachukua notes. I think hata akona typewriter hapo.
Yeah, na typewriter yake pia labda iko kwa ndio hiyo hapo, ndio hiyo typewriter ametuonyesha.
Yeah, alafu akatoa again Samsung.
Yes, and then and then Wams anasema great to see the diaspora community coming together. I think I'd already read that comment. That's Wamuyu. And then I also have let me see who else do we have. Engineering Muscles anasema I really have hope in Sifuna. He has the chance to really redeem the nation, and this is a golden opportunity. A lot of people have hope in him. And then
that guy, he sounds like you now.
Who? Engineer. Or maybe
I'm saying he, but engineer sounds like you.
Yeah, but maybe I am positively influencing. And then Tristo TV, thank you so much again for the sterling pounds. Anasema ask Abby if Caleb Hamisi is still an ally of Linda Mwananchi now that he has a new party called Renaissance. So Abby, make a note of that question too. You'll come answering them. Hapa watu wamechacha sana kwa comments.
We are here for them.
Yes, so. Let me go back to Abby first to address some of those questions that were coming up, and then tutaendelea na kusoma hizi comments. Abby, all the way from Homa Bay.
Thank you so much. I think one of the question was, what are we going to do when we take over government?
Yes.
And I will reference to what our presidential candidate is always saying. And I know there has been this push for us to come out big with the manifestos of what we are going to do. But we have been very clear we don't want to promise any shiny things because we understand the kind of mess that this government has put this country into. But one of the things that we intend to do, of course, and this has always been something so consistent with Senator Sifuna, even as they were, drafting the 10-point agenda, is to cut government expenditure, which does not need any rocket science. It is very sad that from 100 Kenya shillings, and allow me to use in Kenya shillings, I know you guys are speaking in dollars and pounds, but from 100 Kenya shillings, our wage bill as a country takes like approximately 60 bob. So 40 bob is what is left to gamble upon for development and other things. And so that should really worry any government that has the agenda of the 190 at heart. And so one of the things that Sifuna also highlighted in his latest interview with Yvonne Okwara was, we are going to cut government expenditure. It does not take a lot of things. You don't need to move to parliament to pass some laws. You just need to do it if you have the goodwill to do it as a government. And this is one of the things that have really affected even how, government operates, because expenditure seems to be one of the biggest things and challenges that is facing the current government. And so I'd say that is one of the things that I know we are very keen on. And even as we move across all counties, we are trying to understand what we are able to put up in terms of what are we able to achieve within the 100 days. And I say this because, again, the government of the day has really messed up this country, and especially matters of debt. And so it's going to be rough for anybody who takes over Ruto, for sure. And we are being very strategic not to overpromise and to have very candid conversations with Kenyans, even as we are doing the campaigns now, so that even when you take over power, it's a progressive conversation based on what we are having now and when we take over power. Very difficult for anyone to promise any shiny things. If you see any politician in the opposition promising heaven, I don't know how they're going to achieve that, because one of the things that we're going to have to deal with is the odious debt that this government has tripled as compared even to the last government that was in power. I think that was question number one.
Yes.
Question number two was, and maybe you can help me here.
Was it the one for Caleb Amisi? Is he still an ally of Linda Mwananchi now that he has a new party called Renaissance? That's a question from Kristo TV.
Yes, I think he's still an ally. He's not attended a lot of our rallies since he started going to the news channels, and we respect his democratic process. He feels he should air some of these things openly. But I also do feel inside the movement, because he was also one of the principals, there were channels he would have used to address some of the concerns that he may have had. Again, please know, as a person who has a party, maybe one of the issues would have been he really did want his party to be one of the parties that is considered to, for Senator Sifuna to take up as he vies for presidency. But those are also conversations I feel should have been had, and people should have, agreed on a few things. But it's also okay, it's a movement, interests are there. We are bound to see some of this push and pull, but he's still an ally. When we were in Kitale, he did mobilize a lot of people, and he had very big posters written Sifuna for president and himself, because he's going for that term as member of parliament in Saboti constituency. So he's in opposition. He's saying one term and Ruto must go. And so at the end of the day, all these parties are going to sit on a table to discuss the way forward, and in terms of a united opposition presidential flag bearer. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, before I come back to Dan,
Ali, can I add something real quick?
Sure, go ahead.
The one thing I have to say that his HE Sifuna says that as long as somebody is not saying two-term, I think that everybody's welcome aboard, and it will take a lot of effort of everybody to be able to send Ruto home. And so I think that if the common denominator is the fact that the two-term is the common denominator, then I think that regardless of which other formations that people may want to,
one term, not two.
Right? Yeah,
one term.
Yeah, as long as one is one term, that's it. Awe na chama gani na nini ya tujali, so long as form ni one term. And then kitu kingine ni kwamba HE alisema pia, he is not like right now we have a know-it-all president. He's saying that haizi sema kwamba anajua kila kitu. Kuna zile vitu ambazo pia depend on expatriates to be able to explain to him or guide him on what to do. So he's not going to come here and promise A, B, C, D, amaseme hivi na hivi. There are some things that he'll have to listen to those people who have experts in those areas. And I think that's very, very important, because you end up making promises that you cannot be able to keep up with. And the fact that you have a listening president who is willing to listen to people who can be able to guide him in how to do some aspects of it, that's good. His greatest strength is the preamble of the Constitution. And he says that as long as we can be able to implement that, because ever since the Constitution was enacted, we haven't had a chance to be able to fully implement the Constitution or even follow that. And that's the reason why you find that currently, there's a lot of constitutional violations, and the people go scot-free, or they are not followed to the end. And if we can have a president who can fully, implement the Constitution, make sure that we have the rule of law, and the Constitution is followed, and everything else will fall in place. So I like the idea that we have a lot of Sifunated people. I would like to encourage them to, come aboard, share the link, come on Saturday. If you have any other question, there's some questions we can answer, but there's some questions that only the principals themselves can be able to answer. And thus I would encourage everybody within our hearing to be able to share the links and be able to attend the meeting and to hear from them directly.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that, Al. And just to remind the listeners, you're tuned into the One Mic Show, and the number to call is 202-683-4570. Press *5 to speak. I'm surprised we've not gotten a call today so far, because I see so many sifunated people.
Say the number in English slower.
202 483 45 70.
Unajua Abi yuko Homa Bay, hizo vitu zimempita tu. Sema tena vile utaona vile zitampita.
202-683-4570. Press *5 to speak. And then, like a big shout out to kuna hapa Frosty 8640 ametupatia $1999. Frosty, we are frostily accepting, like that. Thank you so much. And then Tristo amekasirika, ameangusha 10 sterling pounds.
Yeah.
Na sasa kwa vile ameangusha 10 sterling pounds, we are gonna ask like that question. Makofi kwa Tristo TV. Sijui nani ataweza kumbeat Tristo TV. And then hapo pia Frosty 8640 anasema kudos to the One Mic Show. Now Tristo TV hapa because ameangusha another 10 sterling pounds. Anauliza,
yuko serious?
Yes, Tristo TV is very serious with life. She knows what she's doing. Like even if you wanna be president in future, I'll be mimi ni Tristo TV.
Sure.
Yeah, so
it's not even thicker than 100 pounds and you're already selling your
like in future, like where
ulikula nini yako? So ulikula envelope yako peke yako.
Ulikula envelope yako peke yako. So wewe furahi moshi.
Abi don't believe them. Abi don't believe them. Zile mifuko zangu.
Jamani tuta
I believe them. Unaniangushia tu makorogosta.
Abi.
Unaona vile langangano uko mabeo.
He ate money and he even took pictures. Unajua some people eat money silently. He ate money and he took pictures.
You know what's funny? Mimi ndio nilipiga hizo picha.
Well, picha ilipigwa. Sasa picha ikishapigwa, uko kwa picha ama huko. Yeah. But anyway, hapa Tristo alikuwa anauliza, ask Abby if she thinks Rigiji supports Linda Mwananchi 100%, given that he is now not the only tsunami pushing against Kasongo. Also, does she think Kalonzo will agree for Sifuna to get the top seat? Where?
What?
Hiyo ni fire question.
No. Hiyo hata Trisha ongeze 10 nyingine.
Hiyo ongeze 10 nyingine. Hiyo ongeze 1999.
Fungua sava. Ongeze 10 nyingine ya fungua sava. Surely.
Yes. So Abby.
Yes. I think first and foremost, I'm going to give a lot of credit to what Rigiji has done so far in the opposition and galvanizing the Mount Kenya, region. And if there's a person who has always been very keen on appreciating the political muscle of various opposition leaders, has been him. You remember he's constantly saying it will be a game of numbers. And so for us, we have always taken that as a challenge, and that's why you've seen us move very fast and with speed. And for us to have gone to Western, for example, is to also just ensure that that block alone also remains and becomes sifunated as the rest of the Kenyans. And as much as we appreciate that Sifuna is a national leader, it was also important for us to lock that block for him and have partnership with people like the governor of Trans Nzoia County. He's a very good gentleman that is supporting Sifuna, George Natembea. And so I feel Rigiji's, and you can tell even from how he speaks about Sifuna, he's quite, he's very enthusiastic about him and he's very shocked. I know we have really shocked a lot of leaders in the opposition, but Rigiji, sense of shock is that of, wow, enyewe mumekuja hata mimi wacha, let me pull up my socks. So the best case scenario for me would be the Mountain and Mulembe coming together, because their numbers would completely shake what needs to be shaken, and they bring, if they were able to galvanize both regions towards the opposition as we are doing, then we have a very formidable opposition. Kalonzo is doing some very good work as well, and Honorable Matiang'i. The other day, Kalonzo was in Fixing the Nation, and he was asked the same question: would you deputize Sifuna if he was chosen as a presidential flag bearer? And he said, yes, why not? And he proceeded to also just sell himself as the presidential candidate. So I feel they're going to be, just like any group formation, we will go through the normal processes. Storming, already hata watu wameanza kupigana opposition, and it is normal. We don't want people to panic. It happens. Even us in Linda Mwananchi, when we started, a storming happened. Now we have stabilized. Now we are morphing into a party. So we have to appreciate the processes of the push and pull. We are seeing, for example, the Matiang'i Team Jubilee fighting a little with Team DCP. We've seen Akina Munya coming out very strongly to call out Gigi on what they perceive as, him not appreciating their small parties or what they are bringing to the table. But our message as Linda Mwananchi has always been, we need everyone. We need to gather everyone and scatter no one. And so we believe in bringing everybody on board. But on top of that, we are also going to have a second tier conversation of, yes, you are also part of the opposition and you are saying one term and Ruto must go, but are there integrity issues that the public have with you in regard to holding a certain office? And so for us, we are just in tier one of engagement with opposition, and that's why you're seeing our presidential candidate, Edwin Sifuna, went and visited Matiang'i, went and visited Mheshimiwa Kalonzo, and I know they are planning to also have a sit down with Rigiji, so that towards, just breaking bread, removing tension, removing this healthy competition amongst the opposition and reminding everybody, adui ni mmoja, ni Kasongo. And at the end of the day, we must remember that our need for power cannot supersede the need to save this country and restore back this country to what it needs to be. Yeah.
Okay, real quick, adui ni moja na tam ni moja, but one quick question.
Na team ni moja.
Yeah, na team ni moja. One quick question. Hii hapa, just answer it in less than 30 seconds. Would Sifuna agree to deputize Kalonzo? Less than 30
Would Sifuna agree to deputize? Yes, he would.
Okay.
If it got there, he's always saying he will not be the reason why the opposition divides or the opposition, is separated. We will not be the reason why we don't take Ruto home.
Okay, all right, good. Now, there's a quick comment that was coming in here. I don't even know whether I should read this comment. Sakodi Mila anasema Kenya still retains the death penalty in law. I would like to hear the potential candidates speak about applying the death penalty to curb corruption. Start with Ruto immediately.
Hiyo ni swali ya leo, ni swali kwenye town hall.
Ake Mungu nyingi.
Sasa hiyo ni swali ya town hall.
Hiyo nikijibu
I think to add on that, on what Abby has said.
Yes.
Some of these questions are the last question she just tried to address.
Yeah.
I think it would be better addressed by the principal on that day. As here, we are just here to mobilize and make sure that you come with your question. The questions are already there again, as we said. Please go now on our social media. The sharing is going on YouTube, and the questions are being plotted to the organizing committee. We're gonna filter them, and they're gonna be answered by the principals. So the attendance is the most critical part here, and most of those questions, actually, Abby's trying the best she can, but the principal will be in the best position to handle question number 1 and question number 2 that you are asking about. So we encourage those who are attending today to log in next Saturday on 22nd at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, US time, and ask the question.
Wait, 22nd, what time again? On 22nd, what time?
I want to say 9 p.m. Central.
Okay.
Saturday is going to be 9 a.m. Central time. 10 a.m. Eastern time.
5.
And time, that will be 7 a.m.
Okay.
And of course, we have, even on the flyer, there's time already. You can equate your time if you're in London, if you're in UK, if you're in Australia, the time is already stipulated there.
Okay, sawa. And then what should participants expect of the virtual town hall as far as the format is concerned? Like I know you said, like on East Coast time, because we're in the East Coast, it's going to be 10 a.m. So when I log in at 10 a.m., like what do I expect, like from the beginning, and approximately how long is this going to take? Because it seems like a lot of people are looking forward to joining this town hall on August the 22nd.
Number one, just like the way we said in the very beginning, we said this is not a rally. It's not a rally. So when you come in at that particular time or at the exact time as stipulated on the flyer, you're going to get the organizers are working on the program. The program is going to be shared with the Linda Mwananchi, the principals. So everything will have a flow. The moderator will be there. So when you come in at that time, everything will be flowing. It is not going to be like we are waiting for 1 hour or 30 minutes later on. No, we expect them at least. We are talking about 2 hours of conversation with them, and they are all the principals there. So that's why we need all the questions to be aired out using our model right now, so that we can fit a question and get the question to the principals. By the time they come in, they'll know who will answer this question. Is it gonna be Onyonka? Is it gonna be Baba Wino? Is it gonna be any of those principals that are there? Is it gonna be Oundo? So all of us, we encourage you to attend. It's gonna be just on the dot. You'll start moving.
Okay.
So don't delay.
Now, Dan, you said something that these questions will be filtered, and maybe me Kizungu.
The filtering. When I say filtering,
yeah,
they're gonna be categorized. They're gonna be categorized in different categories.
Okay, so not censorship.
So that we don't have censorship, so that we don't have repetition of questions.
Okay. So you're gonna be merging questions, and
yes.
Okay. Again, the number to call is 202-683.
So I have to.
Yes, go ahead.
Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead. You wanted to add something?
Yeah, I was going to add something. Although somebody was also asking the number, you can type it to the.
Yes, or the calling number. The number to call is 202-683-4570. Press *5 to speak.
Awesome. But I was going to say that we are not censoring any.
I think you're breaking up. Yeah, I think
we've lost him for a quick second.
Yeah,
we'll let him reset.
Okay.
Ni Kasongo anatunyonga.
Ni Kasongo.
Surely.
Okay. All right. Again, the number to call is 202-683-4570. Press *5 to speak. The other question that I want to ask you before we go back to Abby, I want to ask you, Dan, is there options for people who will not be live? Because this, of course, is going to be, I think it's going to be on Zoom, if I'm not mistaken. So not everyone will be able to join live. Some people will be at work. Some people will be, busy doing, like the normal things they do on Saturday. So the same way we have the one mic show here, whoever was not able to log in live, they can log in, tomorrow, next week. So talk to us about, that optionality for people who are not going to be able to join live.
Our first call here is to make sure that that's why we are giving advance, and we understand some people are working, some people are not going to be available. The whole world, they might not join, and the committee is working behind. The organizing committee is working behind to see how those who didn't attend, how they can get that information. We'll keep you posted.
Okay, thank you so much. And then let me read 2 or 3 comments here before we get to a call. We have a caller. Again, the number to call is 202-683-4570. Press *5 to speak. Brown up alikuwa anasema, kindly Abby, I like your visibility despite the attacks. Kindly get in touch. I'm at the moment in Eldoret working in a university around, worried of the coastal regions. We need to tap on the ground. And then Jerry anasema, hey team, long time, Jerry Oliech hapa. I would like to be convinced that Linda Mwananchi will not form a coalition after 2027 because there are signs are already showing. So of course, hiyo ni speculation ya Jerry. And then we also have Wairimu Nderitu here saying, as a Nairobian born and raised, I would ask Sifuna, why did you stop holding Sakaja's feet to the fire? We heard that Raila admonished you. He had to get his cut from Nairobi coffers. Will you? So that speculation from Warimunderitu. But of course, all comments are welcome. And then Engineering Muscles anauliza, how are the principals going to ensure security of votes, knowing Kasongo and his conniving character? So yes. So yeah, we're gonna go to the call. Again, the number to call is 202-683-4570. Press *5 to speak. So let's go to the call.
Tuko na simu hapa 7794. Hello
7794. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from, and then talk to us.
So hi, my name is Edna. I have a question, and it's mostly for Abby. So the other day, I've seen 2 incidences in the rally
Where is she calling from?
Where are you calling from, Edna? Edna, where are you calling from?
Oh, I'm calling from California.
Okay, all right.
So I've seen 2 incidences in the rally where 2 principals, one was like violent on stage in front of everybody else, and one had very derogatory language for women and making a reference to women on a bed in a manner that wasn't really appropriate for a Linda Mwananchi leadership. So is there plans for Linda Mwananchi leadership to hold that leader accountable to his comments? Is there an apology we should be expecting based off that? And then the second one is really just about, even with the political rally, I know there's a lot of talk about being sifunated, but also can we have a little more transparency around the registration of the party as well?
Okay.
Those are my questions.
All right. Thank you so much, Edna. We're going to go straight to Abby to answer those questions. Abby.
Thank you so much. I think she must have been speaking about the Kitale rally where we saw just a little tuffle between Governor Natembeya and Mheshimiwa Babu. And I think also Mheshimiwa Babu addressed this in an interview this week. And I want us to be cognizant of the fact that the team is expanding. Governor Natembeya was the host, of course, of the rally in Kitale, and he was the organizer. Ideally, what usually happens, and we have to also be privy to the information that Governor Natembeya has not attended a lot of our rallies. Mheshimiwa Babu is the one who is usually in charge of introducing the other principals of Linda Mwananchi and calling them to the stage and handling that program. And I think at that time it was just a normal, push and pull between I am the host, I should be doing this, and usually I'm the one who does this, but it's not anything alarming or anything that resulted to any issues afterwards, because also he just resolved it through a conversation. And I think this happened because as the team is growing and more leaders are coming, as they are onboarding to the Linda Mwananchi processes, it will take time, but ideally, eventually somebody always aligns and is able to understand how we do our things, how the protocol is handled, who handles what, who calls in the aspirants, who calls in the youth leaders to talk, who calls in the elected leaders, and so forth and so forth. So I feel it was a one-off a scenario that happened. It's not going to be happening again. Both of them will be in attendance in Homa Bay, so very important for you guys to see and witness how they handle each other. And I can tell you for sure that was resolved and is water under the bridge. On the second question that she asked in regards to, I think that was in our Bungoma, Busia, Kakamega rally. And if you notice, it was in one stop, and it was Mheshimiwa Majimbo Kalasinga. And I say this because I also picked it up very fast, and he's also somebody I have a very good relationship with. And I remember going to his car and telling him, you cannot say these things. But I also, there's a conversation we were having, and you should have seen how the crowd was responding to that conversation. And I say this because we need to be cognizant of the fact of where we are at politically in terms of the politics of the day and ground in political language. Uko mashinani, ukisema hizo vitu ndio zina watu wanataka kusikia. I'm not even kidding. But we're also trying to balance and just ensure that.
Maybe for those who are not familiar, like with, and you don't have to use the exact words that used, like maybe describe so that people can understand, what happened. Because I think Edna mentioned it, and
yes.
You know what happened there, so maybe just describe like what he said so that people can understand, and also give that explanation of watu mashinani ndio vitu wana resonate nazo.
Yes.
Yeah, so
it was in the context of they were trying to compare the strength of our presidential candidate Edwin Sifuna and the party leader of ODM Oburu in terms of women issues. So let me not go to the yes. And so they were like, si huyu ni myang na ni able na huyu ni hivi. So and I can tell you the crowd was so happy. You see the way you guys are laughing. They were like, "New kweli." And we're also trying to.
That is not good.
We need to understand that. And I say this because I have been on the ground and I'm also an intellect. And I have also been in coast areas where that is the language that is used to push political narratives. Same thing before we started this show, somebody was saying that it puzzles them that they, at the end of the day, if their grandmother is bought salt, they're going to vote in a political direction. And we need to be cognizant of the realities of the ground as much as we want to progress the political landscape of the country to a whole other level. It's gonna take time. It's a process. We are part of the process. And like I've said, after those utterances, the same issue was raised. And in the next stop, because we were having like 10 stops in a day, the same was not, he did not publicly say that. And we had to sit him down and tell him, you cannot say these things. Yes, I know the crowd likes it, but we cannot be engaged in such a conversation because this is who we are as Linda Mwananchi. So it's a learning process to change these things. The same way we are also trying to change the idea of tokenism and voter bribery. And we are all copying what Olkalau did because we have to be realistic enough to know the government of the day is going to come with a lot of money on the ground. We may not be able to match it as the opposition. And so what we are saying is, kula kwa Ruto, lakini kura upatia nani? Sifuna. So we've had to tweak things and understand how to engage wananchi, because at the end of the day, it is quite unrealistic to expect people that are suffering and do not have money and there is no cash flow in the country, akiletewa 2,000 akose kuchukua pesa. But so what we've had to do is tweak that and tell people, take this money, it's yours. Actually, it was looted from public funds and from institutions that should serve you ideally. So take this money, yes, but can you vote wisely? And can you copy what happened in Olkalau? So ni process tu kuchange hizi vitu step by step. Yeah,
okay. Unajua issue ya take this money, like when you talk to like those of us who've lived in the US for a very long time, there's a certain disconnection, despite the fact that we regularly come to Kenya. There's a certain disconnection that we have on the ground because of the privileges that we had here. We strongly believe that mtu akipatiwa hiyo pesa anafaa kukataa, anafaa kusema hii ni pesa ya ufisadi, usinipatie.
Omosha kukataa.
Mkona disconnect by the way, mkona disconnect kabisa.
Omosha alichukua bahasha.
Well, lakini Omosh is an exception, like he's lived here longer than any one of us, but yeah kukataa. But anyway,
but we can appreciate kitambo watu walikuwa wanachukua hiyo pesa na wanasuiwa.
Yes.
Na wanavutia ule mteja ya pesa, but saa hii tumechange, mtu anaweza kula pesa and still make a sober decision. So
Kiolkalau.
We have to appreciate there has
inaitwa kula Kiolkalau.
Bas.